Wildcats fans, wake up because things have changed for you significantly during free agency. It was only yesterday on the marketplace that we spoke with Derek Rucker about where the Cats are situated and what they need. In the space of less than 24 hours, bam, things change in a big, big way. Jack Heaven alongside the number one newsbreaker in Australian basketball, Olgun from ESPN. Olgun, give the Cats fans the good news.
Yeah, Jack, really good day for the Wildcats fans. Keanu Pinder has signed a 2-year deal to join the Wildcats. He goes to his hometown team. And this is a big recovery, a big bounce back for the Wildcats, who just a few days ago were told that Luke Travers wasn't returning. And so they get probably a top 2 name on the free agent market in Keanu Pinder, someone who averaged 17 and 10 over this past season with the Cairns Taipans, back-to-back Most Improved Player awards. He was in the MVP conversation for much of last season before he went through a bunch of injuries. This is a huge pickup for that team, and for a team that struggled on the boards and struggled defensively, getting someone like Keanu Pinder, who was a key in that Taipans defense, which was one of the best defenses all year long last season, that's a huge thing for them.
As you can probably tell, this is very much an emergency edition of the marketplace on a Saturday morning. Firstly, on this one, Olgun, he's been playing in Spain, averaging 19 points, 8.5 rebounds, putting up great numbers, has fitted into that European style straight away. There were some, and I must admit I was one of them, that were starting to doubt whether he was coming back to the NBL at all.
And I was in that camp too, and speaking to people around him, there was a sense that the way he's been playing in the ACB would indicate that he was going to get more offers from that part of the world. From what we know, that part of the world can pay a whole lot more money than most NBL teams. But with Luke Travers coming off the board, the Wildcats did have that chunk of money to spend, and they were able to come to the table with Keanu Pinder and get that deal done, and stop him from leaving the NBL, which is a good thing for the NBL.
So are you saying in the space of the last 2 days, essentially since Luke Travers announced that he was departing, that things have changed in terms of the offer that was available for Pinder from the Wildcats?
Yeah, there was a sense that talks are ongoing with every team as soon as free agency begins, but there was a sense that as soon as the Wildcats knew that Luke Travers was probably leaving for another team, there was an increased level of urgency to get someone like Keanu Pinder, and so those talks heated up when the Wildcats knew that they would have that vacant spot, that vacant 4 spot, and so it was relatively recent that the talks picked up to the extent where a deal could get done today.
So the Wildcats, no doubt, would have seen, and I'm talking about the front office here, Danny Mills, their GM, the ownership group, they would have seen some of the commentary on social media that they felt like they were going to miss Pinder, they felt like they were going to miss other opportunities, and where are things at? Does this kind of just take the pressure off, particularly when they've got their big Wildcats ball tonight?
Yeah, without question. If you're a front office and there is a perception that you're not doing a good job, even if that's not the reality, if the perception is there and that's what's held among the fans, that's a really tough thing to deal with. And so this sort of tempers things a little bit. This was one of the big top tier free agents off the market now, and he's coming to his hometown. Kendall Pinder, Keanu's father, won 2 championships with the Wildcats, and so you're continuing that family lineage too. And so Danny Mills has done a good job of sort of kind of sitting back and ignoring the noise and continuing to go to work. I texted him this morning. I asked him, "Have you got any sleep?" He said, "None." And that's where they're at right now. They're as much as the perception is things are going awry in that franchise. The guys in that front office are still working relatively hard, and this is kind of the proof.
How, without getting down into the absolute dollars and cents, but how good were the other offers from teams within the NBL for Keanu?
Well, it's interesting. Cairns had a really strong offer put forward, but the expectation was always that he might get priced out of Cairns. We knew that the starting offer for Keanu Pinder, that starting price was really, really high. And other teams were prepared to meet it, but there was a sense as well that he was going to get even bigger offers in Europe and abroad, and so there was sort of a holding pattern until the Wildcats came forward with an offer that I guess Keanu Pinder couldn't refuse.
So then lastly, we always like to try and give the fans here on the marketplace a sense of how the roster's filling out. So from a Perth point of view, they have Bryce Cotton, You mentioned yesterday that Corey Webster's not too far away from a signature. Ty Webster, those conversations continue. This is obviously a key piece for them. What's next for the Wildcats?
Well, so I think there's a sense that they want to lock in some more of the ancillary players, and so we spoke yesterday about David Aquera as someone who they're in negotiations with. Another player they're in negotiations with is Mason Peatling. And so when we speak about a team that struggled rebounding and struggled defensively, those are two names that would shore up that front line really well. As far as the next big piece that the Wildcats will be going after, I'm told that William McDowell-White is priority number one.
Pardon?
William McDowell-White. Now, obviously, New Zealand remains in the driver's seat with him, and they're really, really primed to have him returned. Return. Sydney remains in the conversation. The Tasmania Jack Jumpers have expressed their interest. The Perth Wildcats, I flagged a few weeks ago that they might be a sleeper for McDowell-White. There's a sense that Bryce Cotton wants to play alongside him, and now with Keanu Pinder there, you wonder if you can create this big three in Perth with McDowell-White, Bryce Cotton, and Keanu Pinder. I think this makes Perth a more realistic landing spot for McDowell-White, and I think it's the number one priority for Perth going forward.
Gee, and it's interesting with Will. You mentioned yesterday that you felt like a decision was close. Does this potentially, now that Keanu has made a decision and they have a relationship, can this delay things potentially, or does it speed things up? Does it help him make a decision?
I think it probably helps him make a decision. The sense I got from speaking to people around McDowell-White was that he just wanted to see what teams are going to look like. And so, as far as all the teams that are interested in him, you can see how he might fit in each of those teams. And now you get a better sense of what that might look like in Perth, because they have two of their primary guys in Cotton and Pinder. Whatever ancillary players you put around them, you can build around those guys if McDowell-White does end up going there. Without Pinder there, it's really tough to see how you might fit in a team. And so this, I think, speeds things up. I'm told McDowell-White and Pinder are friends, and they've been friends for quite some time. And so I wonder if this increases the likelihood of McDowell-White considering Perth going forward.
This is not an April Fool's show. This is legit. This is Keanu Pinder signing with the Perth Wildcats on April the 1st. Remarkable morning for them. It's a big day, as we mentioned, for the club with the Wildcats ball tonight. They'll have plenty to smile about this evening, no doubt. Olgun, thanks for getting up early and hitting us up with a snap Saturday morning edition of the Marketplace.
Thanks, Jack. I'm going back to bed.
Thanks for being with us. Great news for Wildcats fans. Of course, as always, the Marketplace is your one-stop shop for all of the news happening during free agency. We'll chat to you soon.